Hey guys, it's Mitchell. I'm back, and this time I'm going to be attempting, for the first time, the makeup for my Halloween costume this year, and I will be going as Jessica Rabbit. I likely won't be speaking during this because, to be honest, I have no idea where to start or really what to do, so I'll voice over it after so I have time to figure it out and let you know. So enjoy, and let's begin. I'll start by using a regular glue stick to glue down my eyebrows and helping to push and brush my hairs into place with a mascara wand. The goal is to get them as flat to my skin as possible. The process of letting the glue dry can be a little boring. Next, I'm taking a translucent powder and pressing it into my eyebrow on top of the dry glue to help seal and lock it in. I'll be repeating between gluing and powdering 3 times. When you're all done, just dust off the excess. Try not to poke yourself in the eye. I'm also going to glue and powder down my sideburns because I will be wearing a wig and I want to make sure that my big chops are completely concealed. Dust off again any excess powder and we're good to go. Wink. Next, I will be applying foundation, and I'm going to be doing it in stages, starting with my forehead, just in case I make mistakes. And this is me realizing that I have made a mistake. That is definitely not my color. I found something a little darker, and now we are moving on. Next, I'm plotting out Jessica's huge eyelids. I'm just using a pencil just to get a general guide, and trying to match them on both eyes. To get a sense of where her eyelid crease would be, I'm taking a brown shadow and following the line I just made. And this is when I start to realize that my short, tricky eyebrows are poking through the glue. But I'll pretend to ignore it and move on and start to build up around the crease that I've made with darker eyeshadows just to help to accentuate it. Once both sides are even, I'm going to move on to filling in the lids with a white acrylic face paint. I'm doing a couple layers until there's no trace of my skin color behind it. In between each layer, I'm going to dramatically fan myself and swap myself in the face with it and move on to more layers until it's as white as possible. And now more dramatic fanning. At this stage, I'm starting to get a little nervous that I look like a weird clown. So I'm going to start to introduce some of the classic Jessica Rabbit purple eyeshadow color, starting with a pencil and then moving on to eyeshadows and pigments. I'm starting with my darkest purple pigments and shadows on the outer and inner corners of my eyes and gradually blending them inwards, but focusing the darkest color on the outside. I do not know why I have chosen a blue pigment next. I thought maybe mixed together with purple it could make something cool. Later, I will go on to try to hide it as much as possible. From here, I'm applying a white matte pigment down the center of the lid to help give it a little bit more dimension and make the eyelid look more rounded. Next, I'm taking a black liquid eyeliner and tracing that area between the lid and the shadow to give it a bit more depth. To help soften that harsh black line I created with the liner, I'm taking black eyeshadow and blending it in between the black line and the purple pigment. And now for the other eye. With both eyes done, I'm moving on to eyebrows and starting with a brow pencil that's quite light, just so I can get the shape on. And once I'm happy with it, I'll move on to a cooler brown eyeshadow with a angled brush to trace on top of that to define the shape of the brow. Next, I'm taking a white eyeliner and applying it to my waterline. I want to look as cartoonish as possible, and I think this will help. And plus, I've seen drag queens do it, and if they can do it, I can do it. Here's a good example of why I didn't put foundation on the lower half of my face, so I can clean up the white as much as possible. Because I will be following it with a black liner here to make it look like it's the bottom of my eye. Now that the eyes are in place, I'm feeling pretty good about continuing applying foundation down onto my cheeks. As I'm putting on the foundation and approaching my beard, I realize that there is a pretty cool trick to helping conceal beards under makeup. And I really should have done this sooner, but I'll stop and do that now. It's really just a method of color theory. So to avoid my 5 o'clock shadow from casting a blue hue through the foundation, I'm taking orange makeup and applying it to my beard. After it's dried, I'm taking a translucent powder and covering the whole area just to make sure that it's completely set and it won't transfer through the foundation when I apply it on top of it. I want to be extra careful that the translucent powder actually does set the orange makeup, so I'm going to leave it for a bit and move on to the lips. As we've all seen, Jessica Rabbit has huge red lips, so I'm taking a matte red lip liner and drastically overdrawing and reshaping my lips to be extra big and extra cartoony. Once I'm happy with the shape, I'm going to fill it in with the pencil. With just the red lip liner, the lips are looking a little flat, so I found a reddish brown eyeshadow and I'm applying it around the edges of the lips to help give it some dimension and to separate it from my skin. I wasn't totally happy with the shape of the lips, so I'm cleaning it up with a makeup wipe and cleaning up the eyeshadow off my shirt. And now a back stretch, neck crack, and we're moving on. Next, I'm adding more foundation to the areas that I removed when I was tidying up the lips with the makeup wipe. So I'm just following along the lip line and filling in any spaces where I have removed any foundation. If you've noticed in photos of Jessica, she does have a shine to her lip, so I'm going to be creating that shine illusion with the same white acrylic paint I use on my eyes. It does mix a bit with the red lip liner, so just let it dry and apply it in a couple coats and it will shine white. And next, now that I know that the orange makeup has completely set, I'm taking the foundation and applying it over it in a few layers just to make sure it's evenly blended and all orange makeup is hidden. Next, to help put some life back into my face, I'm going to be taking that lighter color foundation I accidentally used on my face and apply it to my jawline, down the bridge of my nose, and under my eyes just to help my foundation not look so flat. Next, and even though I'm so sick of hearing this word, I'm going to contour my face just to give it a little bit more of a feminine look. I've decided only to do my cheekbones and my jawline and not to do anything with the nose. I might actually rethink that for Halloween just to make it look a little bit more small. Here I'm just blending and making sure all of my edges are smooth and it looks as flawless as possible. And I'm also applying a little bit of darker powder on the areas that I've contoured. And now the final step for the skin, I'm taking that translucent powder and a dry beauty blender and applying it all over my face to make sure that all the foundation has set so it won't budge all night. Just a final few touch-ups and I'm getting into character, and we'll pose and now on to lashes. If you've noticed, Jessica really only has really long eyelashes on the outside of her eyes, so I've taken a huge set of eyelashes and trimmed them along the inner to the middle and just left a bunch of lashes longer on the outside. Alright, one last pose, and now I'm ready. And there you, and there you go, guys, my version of Jessica Rabbit.